there are four things that I learned from my soul contract. And these are the lessons that I learned. And I want to share them with you because they are universal. And when I learned these lessons, the outcome or the effect was that I lost the desire for alcohol. I quit drinking. And in the previous episode, I talked about soul contracts, and that's episode number 35. So this episode will make more sense if you go back and listen to that first, if you haven't already, because these are the lessons that when I learned them and applied them to my life, everything changed. And the effect of me learning these lessons was that I lost the desire for alcohol. And I just I just don't even think about it. I don't miss it. I can be around it, and it I have no desire to actually pick it up and drink it at all. And maybe you are on a going alcohol-free journey or want to cut back. Well, I think that these lessons, as I mentioned, are universal, and they might be relevant to you as well. So that's what I want to talk about today. Welcome to the Going Alcohol Free podcast, by the way. My name is Lise. I am your host. I was a binge drinker for 26 years, and I just couldn't drink one. I had to drink, if I had a bottle of wine in front of me, I wanted to drink the whole thing. Uh, that's what I did. And almost 4 years ago, I quit drinking alcohol, and I didn't ever mean to stop drinking alcohol, but I did. And that my story is in episode number 33 and number 34 if you're interested in hearing about how it happened for me. But here's the four lessons, and I'm sure there's more, but these are the ones that I thought of as I was creating this episode for you. So, I I'll just share the four and then I'll talk about each one. But self-love, forgiveness, self-worth, self-image. And then I put a fifth one on here called belonging, but um, I'll see what I can come up with that one. It kind of popped into my head. So let's see what I have to say about it because I don't really have any notes about that one. But self-love was a big one for me because I remember that, like, I don't think we ever think about self-love. Like, oh, do I love myself? But I can tell you that the actions that I had or that I did really proved that I did not love myself. The over drinking, the binging, the going on 3-day benders of just drinking from, let's say there was a holiday on Monday, drinking from Friday evening all the way until Monday night on this major bender where when I would just stop, when the only reason that I would stop was because I would basically pass out or fall asleep. And then I would wake up the next morning and start at it again. Well, that right there shows that I did not love myself. And there's so many other things that I did that showed me that I did not love myself. But I never thought about it. Oh, do I love myself? And I remember it was during it was during lockdown of 2020, and I remember I was crying and I was on a run, and I called my mom and I said to her, I wish that things would go back to the way that they used to be. And remember, I quit drinking November 2020. And I don't remember exactly when this was, but maybe June, maybe early, maybe sooner, maybe March or April. And I just remember crying and thinking that I wanted things to be differently. And I remember thinking to myself, after I was still on my run, but I was talking to her, or done talking to her, and I was like, why do I want it to be so different? Because you're at home, you get to drink if you want to. You don't have to drive anywhere to go anywhere. And I just remember a moment of self-reflection at that particular moment. And I'm just, have you ever had that type of moment where you're just thinking something and then you're sad about it and then you're like, "Okay, why am I sad about this?" Because there's a lot of times I was sad and I didn't know why I was sad, but I didn't reflect on why I was sad. And when I sat there and I was like, "Why am I sad about this?" I don't know, something just kind of clicked for me. And I want to jump forward now to November, or maybe it was even anyway, I'm not clear exactly on the timeline, but I remember calling my mom up and saying, "I think I love myself." And it was like this such weird aha moment. I think I love myself. And I don't even remember what she said, but it was at that moment, like where when I finally realized that I loved myself, that I had stopped drinking as well. And so I think that it coincides, the timing coincides with each other. And I mean, I think that loving ourselves comes from inside. It definitely comes from inside of us. And, are there books or anything that you can read on self-love? Yes, there are. And there are exercises, but I think that really self-love comes from doing the deep work on yourself and asking yourself a lot of questions and reflecting back on some of the things that you've done, some of the things that you've said, why you've done things, and why you don't love yourself. And when you can go deep and answer the questions, I think we can go one layer up towards loving ourselves. And then again, one more layer every time we reflect. And that's why I think that journaling is really good. But hey, I was never a journaler. Like, don't hand me a book to write my thoughts. I don't want to know my thoughts. I don't want to know what's going on in here. I'm fine. Just hand me a bottle of wine. All right. So self love. The second one was forgiveness. And this was a really big one. But my soul contract, so I was given circumstances that would help me to understand that forgiveness is really important. And it is. And what I learned is that forgiveness is not done for it's not done for the other person. It's done for ourselves. So when I mean, is it hard for you to forgive other people? Because I didn't want to forgive my dad. I didn't want to forgive people in my life that hurt me. But that was just hurting me more and causing me more pain and more grief. So what I decided to do was to forgive the people that I believed that hurt me. And when I did that, like my dad, it was like this layer, this heavy layer just released off of me. And I forgave my mom, and I forgave my dad, and I forgave anybody who I think in my past, with ex-husbands, ex-boyfriends, anybody who had hurt my heart. And it was so the heaviness just released, and it was so freeing to do it. And now it's easy to forgive people because I'm doing it for me. And I want you to think about if there's somebody in your life that has hurt you or hurt your heart. Can you forgive them? Will you forgive them? Will you do it for you? Not for them. It's for you. You're not doing it for the other person. But when you do it, you will feel so much freedom inside of you. And again, it may just lift that need or eliminate that need to drink alcohol because of the hurt that you're feeling. I know that it did for me. The other thing is, this is number 3, is self-worth. I had no self-worth. I didn't think I was worth anything. And it showed because I've lost everything twice in my life, through a divorce once, through another time of breakup. My relationships were really a big mess in my life. But doing this work and learning these lessons really changed everything. Self-worth, it's similar to self-love in my mind, but self-love is more of what I think of myself, and self-worth is more of what other people think of me. At least these are the definitions that I've come up with. But self-worth, I had no self-worth. I didn't think that I was worthy enough to other people for their love, for their respect, for their care. And it showed. Again, it showed up in my drinking and in my decision-making process and in areas of my life that the more that the less self-worth that I had, the more problems showed up in my life that proved back to me that I had no self-worth, that I wasn't worth love or respect. And I want you to just think about this. I know that I'm not alone in this, but when I was drinking, I didn't always make the best decisions. Procrastinated, being at bars, saying things that I didn't mean to say, hurtful things possibly, some things I don't remember. Can you relate a little bit? Self-worth is so important, and I want you to know that this is what I learned about self-worth. It only matters what I think I'm worth. It doesn't matter what other people think of me. It only matters what I think of me. And for you, it only matters what you think of you, not what other people think of you. This part's not easy. It does take a lot of work and, again, a lot of self-reflection. But I have a group, a community where I help women over 40 do this type of work. And if you're interested, fill out this form down below and I will send you the link. And we're doing this internal work inside of this community that is helping all of us with our self-forgiveness, our self-love, our self-worth. And the last one, and so if you're interested, go ahead, put your name in that, a name and email, and I'll send you an invitation to join this community of amazing women that are all doing this same type of work. But the fourth thing is self-image. Is I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. One, because I felt really ugly on the inside and the outside, but also I really let my self-image of myself, so my body and how I thought of my body and my image. So, I mean, ears, eyes, hair, skin. I had acne and it really bothered me like through my whole life. And partly, if you have acne and you're an adult, it's probably hormones, but my gut was a big mess. And that's why when I became a health coach, I really was helping women focus on their gut as well, because it's so important. And so these are the things that we do inside of my community as well. I'm just sharing all of the knowledge that I have and helping you implement these things to make the changes in your life. But acne was a big, it really impacted me, my self-image and acne scars. And a lot of how I perceived myself, my body, and myself. And when I fully accepted my, everything the way that I looked, the things that I liked and the things that I didn't like, again, and I know I keep saying this, but everything changed in my life and my drinking habit changed because of this internal work that I was doing on myself. I didn't need to change necessarily the external circumstances. What I needed to do was to change how I thought about things that had happened in my past, things that were currently happening, and also how I looked at myself, how I viewed myself. So self love, self worth, self image, and then forgiveness. And the bonus one that I was thinking of is belonging. And the reason why I wrote this one down, and I didn't put any notes by it, but I think my subconscious, it bubbled to the top and I wrote it down, belonging. I never really have belonged or felt like I've belonged anywhere, like in a group or something. I always was like a loner. And I want you to know that if you don't feel like you belong or you're kind of an outcast, you know what? It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And I have accepted exactly that it's okay to not belong or feel like you need to be, like you need to belong. It's okay to kind of beat your own drum. It's okay if you don't fit the mold. And maybe that's like a better term. Like I don't necessarily fit the mold, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. And if you don't quite fit the mold, or maybe you're the black sheep of the family, or you like being alone, or maybe you don't like being alone, there's nothing wrong with you and it's okay. But your thoughts about belonging, I guess what I did was I just said that it's okay if people don't accept me for who I am. I'm okay with that because I'm okay with who I am. And I think that's why when I'm out drinking and everything, I don't care about other people drinking. It doesn't bother me. And I don't care if anybody wants to know why I'm not drinking. I went to a party the other day and they were like, hey, here's a beer. Here's this. I didn't tell them that I don't drink. I just said, no, thanks. I'm good. And I'm okay with that. And I want you to know that however you're thinking about, you know, about you belonging and where you belong, you're okay wherever you're at. You don't, people don't need to accept you. You need to accept you the way that you are, right where you are right now. And if you want to make changes, that's okay. You can accept where you are right now and decide on what's the next best step for your change, for changing what it is that you want. Because remember, one thing that I did was when I quit my job, my corporate job, which I thought was the reason why I was drinking a lot because I was stressed out all the time. And when I quit my job, guess what? I was still drinking. So even though the circumstances changed, um, I was still drinking. So that wasn't necessarily my problem. My problems were internal and how I was thinking about all these different things that were going on in my life. So those are the things, the lessons that I learned that I believe that I came to this earth that I needed to learn was forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and forgiveness of others, and forgiving myself for making really stupid decisions in my life, and self-love, self-worth, self-image, and belonging. And so I hope that this has somehow resonated with you in your life. And the takeaway here is to self-reflect on these areas. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would have just feel amazing and have a fulfilled life. But I truly believe that these are some of the keys to having a fulfilled life. And when you feel like you have a fulfilled life, you don't feel the need or the urge to drink alcohol or binge on alcohol or binge on even food and these other areas of life that might need um, that we might need to put the microscope on. When you feel fulfilled, you just don't have that. You don't have the need to find fulfillment from external sources, from other people, or from objects, or like food or drinking. So I cannot wait to see you on the next episode. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I would love to hear from you if you have any questions or any comments. And thanks for being here today. Shine bright. Bye for now.